I want to talk to you a little bit about what you can see right now. A lot of us have had to make adjustments during lockdown to the way we work and have done a lot more video calls than we're used to. Maybe also within your families, you've been part of Zoom quizzes and done far more quizzes than you ever thought you would. Um, but with work, it feels like we have got to know our colleagues a bit better, being invited into their houses almost through these video calls, seeing the colour schemes that they've chosen, or the furniture that they've got, or maybe even pictures that they've got up on their walls. It feels like we have got to know them a bit better. And yet, have we? Even now, what you can see, I'm choosing what I've shared with you. I've chosen which room I'm in. I've chosen which clothes I'm wearing. And some of you might be looking and thinking things like, oh, maybe you should have shaved, or maybe looking at my hairline, or thinking maybe that I look pretty tired because of the bags under my eyes. Some of you might be looking behind me and looking at the books that are on my bookcase, or those of you that have been on junior camp may well be spotting Mr. T up on my bookcase. But it still remains true that I'm in control of everything you can see right now. And I was talking with a colleague who she was saying that her experience of how people had judged what they could see when they were on a video call with her. She's got a lovely armchair and a lamp in the background behind her. And people were thinking that then the house that she lived in was very much like that. It had lovely furniture. It was really probably expensive, and very much expanded their view of her house. And yet, while she was talking to me, she swiveled her camera slightly, and it showed in the rest of the room where there was a bike, there were books on the floor, there were boxes, similar to my room here as well. Now, if you haven't had to do video calls in work, or you're not working, maybe you can think about the things that people share on social media. It tends to be that we only share the things that are the happy moments, the exciting things that we want to share with people. We don't tend to share those things which we think are boring. Maybe when we're sat at home on the sofa vegged out in front of the TV, that's not the time that you take a photo and share it on social media. Or there may also be times where you're sad and alone, and you don't tend to share those things on social media either. You are choosing what you share. And even if you're not on social media or you're not working, you can think about the things that you choose to share with your friends or your family, or the people that you work with, the persona that you put forwards. We're very careful about what we share, but also the things that we hide away, and the things that we're ashamed of. And why am I saying this? In the Bible, in 1 Samuel chapter 16, Samuel's been tasked with choosing the next king of Israel. And he's told to go to Jesse and to meet his sons. And as the first son comes forward, Eliab, the Bible tells us that Samuel is looking at Eliab and saying, he's the one, definitely. He's looking at him, he's thinking he's absolutely the next king. And yet we have 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. And it says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." God knows us better than we know ourselves. So all those things that we've hidden away in our lives, the things that maybe we're ashamed of, the things that we've not revealed to others, the things that we are ashamed of and don't tell others about, he can see. He can see all of the mess that we've got in our lives. He can also see those things that we've hidden away so well from ourselves that we've forgotten about. He can see those things as well. Just like my colleague swiveling the camera to show more in the room that I could see. Just like in my room, I've got boxes and books that you can't see, but I can see. God can see everything in our lives, those things that we're ashamed of, those wrong things, all that mess that we've tried to hide away, he can see. And yet, that's not something to fear, because he loves us. And actually, those things that we're ashamed of, he's willing to forgive. But for us, we need to then go to him and admit that there's this problem, this mess that we've hidden away in our lives. And God will then help us with that mess. So, what I want to ask is, have you gone to God to ask for help with the things that the mess in your lives that you've kind of tried to hide away or forget about? Or are you still pushing it to one side and hoping that maybe you'll never have to deal with it, or deal with that another day? Well, I'd encourage you to go to him now, because he's ready and waiting, willing to forgive that mess that's in your lives, those things that you're ashamed of, those things that you've done when no one else was around and only you know about. He knows about them, and he's willing to forgive those things. And then, if you are forgiven, if you have gone to God and said, I've got this mess in my life, God, and I need your help, and he has forgiven those things, I'd encourage you to go again, because you don't want to allow a mess to build up. It's easy to allow things to pile up like the dirty dishes, but it's easy to allow things in our lives to pile up as well. So whether you are forgiven or whether you're not, I'd encourage you to go to God and admit about this mess, these things that you're ashamed of in your life, and he will help clear them away. And it will be as if that mess was never there.